Aircraft carriers are the most valuable naval assets for any country. They have the most lethal weapons, are as long as 4 football fields, and some can carry over 75 aircraft. Here are the 8 largest warships and their capabilities. Number 8. The Charles de Gaulle. The Charles de Gaulle was commissioned in 2001 and is France's first and only nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. This big boy is 261 meters long and 66 meters tall, and when it's fully loaded, it has a displacement of 42,500 tons. And a quick side note, a ship's displacement tonnage is its weight in water. The Charles de Gaulle can carry 1,200 crew and hosts up to 40 aircraft. This includes a large fleet of Dassault Rafale M fighters, E-2C Hawkeyes, and NFH Cayman Marine helicopters, to name a few. The ship's radar range extends up to 400 kilometers. When it comes to firepower, the Charles de Gaulle carries MBDA Aster 15 surface-to-air missile launchers, Mistral short-range missiles, and anti-submarine missiles. Presenting the INS Vikrant at number 7. The INS Vikrant is the largest aircraft carrier in the Indian Navy and is much bigger than the INS Vikram Aditya. It has a displacement of 45,000 tons and measures 262 meters in length. It cost over $3.5 billion and is the first ever aircraft carrier constructed in India. The INS Vikrant can carry 40 aircraft, including Ka-31 helicopters, MH-60R Seahawks, and MiG-29 fighters. And to launch these fighters, it uses a short takeoff and arrested recovery system called STOBAR. Its weapon systems are state-of-the-art. It has a fully automatic CIWS system, air surveillance radars, 4 dual-purpose cannons, and 2 32-cell vertical launch systems for Barak 1 and Barak 8 surface-to-air missiles. The INS Vikrant is very impressive, but it isn't the largest on our list. At number 6 is the Admiral Kuznetsov. This is the most powerful vessel of the Russian Navy. It was built during the Soviet era and was first commissioned in 1991. The Admiral Kuznetsov is over 304 meters long. That's the length of 3.5 football fields. And when it's fully loaded, it has a displacement of 67,500 tons. This giant carries 30 combat aircraft like MiG-29K fighters, Su-33s, and 25 military helicopters like the Ka-52 Catran. It's also heavily armed with anti-aircraft and anti-submarine weapons, AK-630 guns, and P-700 Granite anti-cruise missiles. But what makes the Admiral Kuznetsov unique is its 115-meter-long ski jump that's capable of deploying heavy fighter jets. However, according to reports, the Admiral Kuznetsov was in serious need of upgrades. So it's being refitted at the moment and is only expected to be operational again in 2024. Number 5. The Shandong Type 002. China's Navy is the largest in the world and it flaunts a couple of large aircraft carriers in its fleet. The first is the Lining, but the Shandong is bigger, badder, and better. So let's take a closer look at it. The Shandong is the first Chinese-made aircraft carrier and was commissioned in 2019. This warship measures 314 meters and has a displacement of 70,000 tons and a top speed of 31 knots. But to call this just a huge ship is an understatement. This warship also uses a STOBAR system for the launch and recovery of aircraft. Its air wing carries 44 aircraft like J-15 fighter jets and helicopters. And besides fighter jets, it reportedly carries 7 drones as well. In terms of weaponry, the Shandong is protected by Type 1130 rotary cannons that can be used against low-flying aircraft, cruise missiles, and small drones. and it has HQ-10 surface-to-air missiles to defend itself. The HMS Queen Elizabeth. Owned by the United Kingdom, this class comprises of the HMS Queen Elizabeth and the HMS Prince of Wales. But the lead ship is the HMS Queen Elizabeth, and it's the largest, most powerful warship in the Royal Navy. It's 284 meters in length and has a displacement of 71,650 tons and costs a whopping $4.2 billion. Its flight deck is as big as 4 football fields, and it can carry 65 aircraft like F-35 stealth fighters and Chinook helicopters. It can move 4 fighter jets from the hangar to the deck in just 1 minute. The HMS Queen Elizabeth has state-of-the-art communication systems and weaponry. This includes the US-made M134 miniguns and the Phalanx CIWS that can defend itself automatically against incoming threats like aircrafts, missiles, and small boats. At number 3 is the Fujian Type 003. The Fujian is by far the biggest, most modern, most powerful carrier in China's navy. This mammoth is 315 meters in length and has a displacement of 80,000 tons. What sets the Fujian apart from the Shandong and the Lining is the aircraft launch system. Rather than a ski jump system, it has a flat flight deck. It's fitted with an electromagnetic catapult-assisted launch system to deploy more aircraft more quickly. And it has the same arrested recovery systems that are used by the US warships. The Fujian's flight deck is also slimmer and is designed to fit more aircrafts on board, unlike the Shandong and the Lining. The exact size of the air wing is unknown, but the warship is expected to carry J-15 fighters and Z-18 helicopters. The top 2 are absolute monsters, starting with number 2, the USS Nimitz. The USS Nimitz is the first of 10 aircraft carriers in its class, and they belong to the United States of America. This nuclear-powered warship is a massive 332 meters in length, has a displacement of 100,000 tons, and a top speed of 30 knots. It can accommodate 6,000 crew and can carry 82 aircraft. This includes the FA-18 Hornets, the E-2C Hawkeyes, the SH-60F helicopters, and the S-3B Vikings, to name a few. It's also well protected with NATO Sea Sparrow missiles that have a range of 14.5 kilometers, short-range anti-ship and sea-skimming missiles, and a lot of other advanced defense technology. Finally, at number 1 is the USS Gerald R. Ford. The USS Gerald R. Ford is the largest warship the world has ever seen. It's also the most advanced, so now it has its own class of 10 planned aircraft carriers, which is regarded as the US Navy's warships of the future. The research and development of this class cost $37.3 billion, and the construction of each unit is almost $13 billion. Let's have a closer look at this monster. The USS Gerald R. Ford is 338 meters long, has a displacement of 112,000 tons, and can accommodate 4,500 crew. Its 78-meter wide flight deck carries more than 75 aircrafts like the F-35, the FA-18 Super Hornet, and the MH-60R helicopters. The electromagnetic aircraft launch system and advanced arresting gear helps the aircraft launch and land quicker. The USS Gerald R. Ford is nuclear powered, and when it comes to firepower, it's got surface-to-air missiles like the RIM-7 Sea Sparrow, the RIM-116, and the M2 machine guns. There are only 47 aircraft carriers in active service worldwide. Most of them are helicopter carriers, and only a handful of them are capable of launching fighter jets. Have you seen or been on board one of these giants? What was it like? Tell us about them in the comments.